So they'll be calling you a radical. Let's go have a cup of coffee with Gaddafi. Remember I used to say that on my radio show in New York all those years way back then? Let's go talk to Gaddafi and find out who really killed, who brought down that plane Lockerbie. So this is Biden's false equivalency for releasing the merchant of death, who's responsible for killing literally thousands and thousands of children, for a ball bouncer who was told not to enter, who entered anyway after she was told not to enter. So this is the false. So I used to say, let's go have a cup of coffee with Gaddafi. How did the United States become such mass evil killers in the name of American manufactured Jesus? I mean, I really want to talk about this. I don't care if I get 6 views, because that's how I'm contemporizing it. Because this is child killers, every president. What? I can prove it. The first thing you're required to do when you become president, have a cup of coffee with Gaddafi, is to drone kids to death. Oh, really? Biden, first thing he did, right off the get. Oh, my bad. Killed a bunch of kids. Oh, just a mistake. Sorry. Trump, first thing right off the get. He didn't even apologize. Boom, drawing the shit out of kids. Bush, is he the king? Oh, God. Him and, yay, Democrats giving Dick Cheney, one of the greatest mass killer war criminals who ever walked, a standing ovation on the House floor. Fuck it. Bush, we had the referendum on the Bush cartel, the election of Trump. And I love all you lefties still on their freaking knees for Obama, dumber, Kissinger's baby. Who knew that I was really good at killing people? He lost 12 Senate seats for the Democrats. I mean, he's the worst president in U.S. history. You know how many kids he droned to death? Do you have any idea? And he brags about it. You know, he said he apologized for the whole Libya thing. So I used to say, are they the kings in the U.S.? No, the king is Truman, right? On one day. You know how many kids Truman killed? Whoa. Fat man. Perfect metaphor, right? Fat man. A lot of here in Utah. I got a hold of real folded paper crane while I was full of cancer, presented to me by Sudoku's I think that's a big story. Not according to Utah media. And they call themselves Christians. There's about 40, 50 brands of American manufactured Jesus. So they've extradited the supposed bomb maker on Lockerbie. So I was always fascinated who really did that. Was evil. That was evil. Those college students from the University of Syracuse. Heartbreaking fucking. But let's go back. Reagan, this is how we've evolved. Reagan went after Gaddafi, remember? And he killed one of Gaddafi's children. That was such a major event in the United States. The United States freaked out. The Christian community went crazy about it. I mean, really went nuts about it. I mean, it was one of the big in this country slams on Reagan. I mean, this country was pissed. It's kind of like Kathy Lee Epstein Gifford, who got caught using slave-made stuff in one of the islands, I believe Haiti. People freaking out, everything. They don't give a fuck. It's an unconscious, sick place. 75% of the United States identifies themselves with some form of a relationship with Christianity, God. Yet, you talk about bare false witness, all going to hell. I mean, the murder that happened in Iraq, nobody in Iraq ever laid a fucking hair. So I used to always say, let's go have a cup of coffee with God. So I really did it. Get this. I'm protesting up at Idaho National Lab, which I always protest up there, and get run out by a great big military operations on video. They chased me out of there for the umpteenth time. I'm using an iPad in those days. I used to always use an iPad. So good. And so Lisa's with me, and I says, pull over here, the first place you can find right here in Twin Falls. There's a Starbucks right there. Pull in there. I got to get some Wi-Fi and upload these videos. So she's up there visiting with this young woman. She keeps looking over, and she's like, oh my God. And so she takes off her apron. She comes over and she says, oh my God, I used to listen to your radio show. I used to, one of your podcasts. And she says, in those early days, and says, Lisa's like, guess who she is? Guess what her last name is? I said, I have no idea. She's Gaddafi. Yeah, I'm his niece. I'm like, what? What? There's pictures out there. So she sit down, we visited what happened in Libya, and she says everybody had to flee. It was nightmarish, it was hellish. Obama did apologize for that, but not drowning children to death. She says, I says, they relocated you here at Idaho National Lab in Idaho? Yeah, our whole family. I'm like, oh my God. So they've extradited the so-called bomb, which is nothing more than Biden's false equivalency to releasing the Merchant of Death. The Merchant of Death. People don't even realize who this guy is. How many kids is he responsible for? Oh, fuck. He fucking backdoored arms deals with every evil, nasty fucking killer for 20, 30 years for a ball bouncer who entered Russia after she was told not to enter Russia. That's an unarguable fact. State Department had thrown down. Do not go in. She went in anyway. I didn't see him releasing the school teacher who was teaching school in Moscow, who entered illegally for the exact same charge, who was charged in the exact same court, who was held in the same freaking penal colony for a while, exact dynamic. So let's go have a cup of coffee with Gaddafi. I really did it. So how did this country become such ruthless child killers and call themselves Christianity? It's unbelievable how evil this country has become, and they're fucking evil. This country's sick. Sick. American exceptionalism. It's creepy. And this has happened in in 20 years post 9/11. I used to, in my class, I was teaching at Weaver State when that happened. I just got back from New York. We were just at the 9/11 memorial. I didn't realize I'd get that emotional. I used to work right fucking there. They were Saudis. They were imperialists. So we went to Iraq. So everybody fucking knew what fucking war criminals. Rumsfeld. Where's Rumsfeld? He died of multiple myeloma. Where's Saddam Hussein? Had weapons of mass destruction. He died of multiple myeloma. Ooh. This whole madness on Lockerbie started, Gaddafi and Reagan, shot in some missiles. But you think about Reagan, even fucking the CIA fucking H. Bush. Whoa. And Clinton. Now, there wasn't much war, was there? About the eggs going on. Not very much. We were talking about American political prisoners that were detained by Putin in Russian gulags that died there. I always go back to Dr. Wang, who I protest in Times Square in the thing. I drink the beet juice and say, hey, come here. How do you like exploiting the blood of children? Shirtwaist fire on Balco. By the way, I just got an email recently, so we got the marker finally on the chemistry building at NYU for the shirtwaist fire. Well, I've been fighting for that for decades and decades and decades. We have that shirtwaist fire event in Bangladesh and or China and or, East Bangladesh, where Indonesia. Remember when Kathy Lee Epstein Gifford got caught using slave labor on her clothing line in Haiti, and people freaked out? Now everybody does it once you start wearing those Trump girl shoes. So really, and I ask this all the time. You should see people, they just glaze over like Fukushima. Answer me this, all you Bible thumpers and all you Jesus freaks and all you people that think you have a relationship with God. I'll never forget it. When the occupiers went into I knew part of those guys. I'm like, don't do it. I knew one of those guys really personally. It becomes as natural as occupying a bird refuge. Occupied the bird refuge in Oregon. They were all Utahns. I'm like, you're out of your mind doing that. What the fuck are you doing? And you remember that So there's this podcast woman doing it live, and she had somebody on the phone from inside there, and she was just going on. What's the word that all the hardcore right wing Bible thumpers use? Jesus' real name. God, she's just pray, pray. And she's just going crazy. And then when it got over, she's like, I think I'll go get me a massage. I'm like, really? These people think they're religious. They're going to fucking hell. Anybody that supported fucking the Iraq war, it's geographic illiteracy. Is that your fucking excuse? So I protested the war so hard, that's how I got the scar across my face. I got sucker punched fucking with brass knuckles for holding up a sign that says Bush lied, soldiers died. Then I had another one I used to carry around. I used to wear in front of the White House at the Peace Vigil long before fucking Filippo or even, Connie was there when he was still there. I used to have a sign I used to wear around. Bush is a baby killer. Bush kills children, and used to violate fucking the American manufactured Jesus crowd. And then you got the lefties. They're American exceptionalists. Yay, fucking. We're going to be fucking the next Obama dumber. Unconscious, sick fuckers. So I used to ask people, I used to have this flyer I'd hand out in front of the White House. Just answer this question. If you drone children or you bomb children to death who never did anything to you, totally innocent people. So if you kill kids and you're a world leader or you're just anybody who participates and supports the people who do that, I just want to ask you, do you go to hell? Thou shalt not kill. I always go back to the Ten Commandments. And they're like, yeah. I never got anybody told me no. I got a lot of, American manufactured Jesus. Hate thy neighbor. Cover thy neighbor's Walmart goods, Jesus. Drone Jesus' relatives in the Middle East. Freaking Jesus. Fucking, it's a freak show. It's disturbing. Or you have bared false witness. I mean, all faiths are responsible. Violating their own fucking religious theology. It's disturbing. Christmas is coming up, which I really don't like that holiday, especially what it's evolved into. I really don't like it. It used to be fun when we were not the presents. We used to celebrate here in Utah back when these people were decent. They're not now. It wasn't a consumption freak show. It was basically, a 6-week party. Food, friends, neighbors, drinking. I mean, it was fun. Now it's all about gifting and presents and, get your slave-made goods and line up the tankers across the Pacific Ocean. What's Fukushima? So, after all, this is Biden's false equivalency for releasing the Merchant of Death. I think America's unconscious. For Brittany Griner, and I'm glad Brittany's out, but Brittany should have never entered. But what about Mark Fogel? Wow. What about Mark Fogel? What about all the American political prisoners that died in jail? What about, I always go back to Dr. Wang. Tiananmen Square, 1989. Incarcerated all those years, and remember I used to stand in the cage in Times Square with the beat Jews and say, hey, come here. Got some new clothes? And they can okay if we run a hot light over your clothes? Yeah. We run a hot light and speckles in there. What's that? And I says, blood. They're like, really? Yeah, that's what it is. The conditions over there. You would be amazed. And people didn't believe me. People go have a fucking test and say, oh my God, you were right. Shirtwaist Fire on Balco. I hope to go to New York for this is because the memorial's up, and I used to go every year, the Shirtwaist Memorial. And I go back to Fukushima. We were leading up the Million Mass March, which was called the Post-Ignorance Project for the 100th anniversary of the Shirtwaist Fire. For these very years, usury on the hill in Utah, or usury. That was on March 25th, 2011. What a year, 2011, huh? 2 weeks earlier, something happened on the way to that place. And they're like, Blanche, what are you? Fukushima. I'm like, it's the top of the heap. And on a cup of coffee with Gaddafi. What a year, 2011. The same time they killed, Obama killed Gaddafi, right at that exact week is when I got sick. I was given 2 months to live and went into a bone marrow transplant center, October 2011. The year that changed everything. Everything. Then they found Edward Snowjob to kill Anonymous. Shortly after that, the cops started killing everybody. The murder of Daniel Willard, that's 10 years. We're coming up on the murder of Aaron Swartz. My first trip out of the bone marrow transplant center to New York that day, January 11th, same day Annika died. Same day my dad died. Alexander Hamilton, my bloodline's freaking birthday. Remember, January 11th, 2013, the death of Aaron Swartz. Then they found Edward Snowjob. He's pledged allegiance to Tsar Putin. So how many has Putin killed in Iraq? Or excuse me, I sound like Bush, right? In Ukraine. These people have no conscience. They have no soul. Well, the United States military industrialized complex is one of the bloodiest fucking wars in history. I was doing some work. You can't even find out how many deaths, so Global 2000, who I work with in Vienna, I'm talking to them and they says, there's reports of a few thousand children killed in Ukraine, but we know that number is much higher. It's devastating. And, the United States military expert comes out, so-called expert. Oh, God. Fox News contributor. No. One of the generals says 200,000 casualties, 100,000 on each side. Whoa. The number's gigantic. Don't forget Vietnam. Went off to Afghanistan to kill the Taliban. Went off to Iraq to get Dick Cheney and friends a big old sack. Went off to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Boogeyman, how nice this. We invented Daryl ISIS. Drone. Can you imagine being a child or a kid in Libya? Anywhere. And you can hear them. I tell this story to nausea. I'm in 2015 on the train headed from Vienna to Budapest. And a guy gets on the train. There's nobody on the train, hardly anyone. And he looks like a farmer, a little bit younger than me. And he just beat fuck. And he's got a woman nurse. She could speak English. I'm talking to her, and I'm like, she's visiting with me, and I'm like, oh my God. She says he's going to see a special eye doctor to try to save his eye in Budapest. Our foundation has found him. They're trying to save his eye. It's a humanitarian group from where else? Vienna, Austria. And I'm like, he's from Libya. I'm like, drone? He perked right up. And he couldn't speak any English or understand. He says, in perfectly good English, he said to me, they killed my wife and children. I mean, what do you say? I started to cry. So she started to talk. She says, they hover in the bottoms of buildings where they think there's some structural safety because they can hear them and they know they're coming and they want to get somewhere maybe because it's a crapshoot and the bomb just drone struck right there where they were at, killed his wife and his kids. I says to him just like this, I says, I hope you understand. Make sure you tell him I'm not responsible. I don't believe in the United States military war machine, even though I'm from the United States. And my dad was a Special Force Marine who was nuked to death in Nevada test site. My uncle who raised me stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. Look him up. My other uncle. They were all, well, my dad was dead, but my other uncles were so outraged when we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. Bush lied. Children died. So now it's the Holy Grail. It used to be unheard of. This whole madness started with a strike, a cruise missile strike, the Gaddafi compound. Remember, it killed one of his kids. Did Gaddafi do that? Well, the bomb builder has been extradited to the United States. He's been in custody for 10 years. Huh. I don't know, but it was evil. Whoever fucking did it. Really fucking chicken shit fucking evil. It's a chicken shit way to fight a war. I go back to the incredible Hoover. Everybody thinks Hoover was this radical. No, Hoover was a genius. He took the fall for the Great Depression. It wasn't him. Hoover was brilliant. Mr. We could use another. Little girl, little girl, little girl. Shut up, meathead. Dorothy Day. True man, true man, true man. You're really a true man. You're really a true man. I hope the vaporized bodies for getting the newly discovered jet stream come in and suck up into your nasal cavity. Hoover. After bomb one. Fat man. Flown right here. It revolts my soul. No military machine in the history of mankind ever has indiscretionally just mass murdered women and children. Till now. It revolts my soul. He just completely distanced himself from the United States. He says, I want nothing to do with this. And this is the former president. Anybody who was anybody who had anything. I go back to Jeffers in Monterey, who I should be there right now at, what's that smell at the Dead Well in Carmel? He was a hardcore activist fighting World War II. And we romance about it. My uncle, who raised me, was on Obacha D-Day. He sure the fuck didn't romance about it. Harold Blanche, look him up. He says, when we hit the beach on D-Day, my group, there was 102 of us. 90-something were killed that day. He says, I remember I took one young guy I knew and I picked up his body parts and put them back together on the beach. He would never talk about it. He's a big beast of a dude. Nobody fucked with that guy. Why'd you do that? I don't know. The first group that stormed the bunker used to carry around a Luger with a bullet in it about that fucking big with notches in the top of it. I remember I found it under his seat. I borrowed his car one day. He's like, if you ever touch that again, I'll kick your ass. Where'd you get it? I put a bullet through a German officer's fucking head and took it off him right there at the fucking bunker. So was Hitler there, you think? Because the Russians got there first? He wasn't there. He got the fuck out of there. He's in Argentina. So a professor from back east, you can look this up, finally got into the Russians, supposedly got the skull of Hitler and his mistress, girlfriend. And Russia let him in, finally. They were supposed to be getting him, 2 hours. He ended up like 15 minutes. They're trying to get it. He snuck out a piece of that skull, put it in the thing, and he got it out and snuck it out. All the work's been done on it. It was like a 12, 13-year-old girl. Sure wasn't Hitler. Maybe he's there with Epstein and Kenneth Lay. The death of Gaddafi, the United States military-industrialized war complex. I go back to the only president, the last president who probably didn't drone any kids to death. Jimmy Carter. Fuck, we're some bloodthirsty, sick fuckers in this country. Bloodthirsty, ruthless, sick, demented fuckers. Unconscious. Who just make shit up. Not me. Not me. Not me. I don't care if I'm non-contemporized. I want to have a cup of coffee with Gaddafi, which I did. Bechtel's baby. 2011, what a fucking year. So I want to ask every fucking person who watches this, because there's a lot of my crowd that are Bible thumpers, that are American manufactured Jews. Well, I don't know. Real so-called Christians, the foot washer, feed the poor, heal the afflicted. What we've done to his legacy. Kick the table, overthrow the money changers out of the fucking temple. Fuck that long-haired freaking radical. Huh. Do you go to hell for killing innocent fucking children? Drowning them to death. Do you go true man, true man? Nixon, Nixon, Nixon. LBJ, LBJ. We weren't done with war very long. Bush. Obama. Who knew I was really good at killing people? Why? He's got kids. Trumpy. First thing. Sliding with Biden. Whoa. Sliding with Biden's own son got depleted uranium sprayed all over him. The burn pit he always talks about. What's in the burn pit? Huh. What's white phosphorus? What's depleted uranium? Who was burning those burn pits? The United States military industrialized complex. If you participate or you're even supporter of that, I'm just asking because I don't know. You guys know so much more about it than me, I guess. Do you go to hell? Let's, have a poll. Do you go to hell? I don't know. Stay tuned. American fucking exceptionalist war pigs are so fucking out of control and so unconscious and so disgusting. Me and Robin Hood. Stay tuned.